Hello, my friends. Many blessings upon you, our ever expanding tribe that is growing. It's beautiful, beautiful and lovely to connect with you. We're now in the time of September, and for us, we are moving towards the second harvest, the autumn equinox, one of the fixed points on the wheel. And the autumn equinox for us is our second harvest. Our first harvest was at Lunasa, and this is our second final harvest, the last harvest before we start moving towards Samhain, the time of closing in and closing down. It's the time when people would go and collect the turf, the peat, from the fields where they had dug it up and cut it and left it to dry through the summer months. And the peat, of course, would be used to keep the people warm all through the winter. And so it's a time for us too to look at our harvest. It's a time of recognizing what we've put out this year. And of course, it's been such a strange year for us all. It's been a time when we have had the opportunity to spend a lot of space with ourselves, to be with us, to sit with us, to journey with us, perhaps to take ourselves out into nature, and for some to curl up and sit by the fire. And for many, of course, it's half of one and half of the other. And how did that feel for you? How did that feel, being on your own, closed off and closed in? How did you manage? Some of you might have had families and still have families around you, children, young adults. Some of you might be on your own or with one partner or another friend with you during that time. So it was a time for all of us to take stock and to be reflective of ourselves and how much we can participate in the growth and changes that's happening on a planetary level. The Earth has healed so much in these last 6 months. And even though it's been difficult for the majority of people, it's actually been a great time for the Earth and for everything growing on the Earth. They've had the opportunity to heal and to open again. And even our ozone layer has healed at an extraordinary rate. And so we recognize that sometimes we ourselves become the virus of the Earth. And for a lot of people, they were running, literally running all the time, from the moment the alarm went off in the morning until they went to bed at night. And this has allowed us all to take space. It's allowed us all to take stock of what feeds us, what really feeds us, and how can we draw upon that. And in drawing upon that, allowing ourselves to move into that sense of active prayer, recognizing that everything we do can become a prayer, everything we say and think can become a part of how we can cooperate in healing our blessed planet. The Great Mother is dying and a new one is being reborn, and she is breaking her way through. The waters are breaking through all across our planet as she is pushing through. And we are here to midwife that. We are here to help in the creation of the earth. And so as we take stock of our own personal life and harvest, we also need to be aware of the earth's needs and how everything we do and everything we participate for and within, everything we're a part of, is a prayer to our Mother too. As we assist and help others and ourselves, when we do it in consciousness, that becomes a prayer for her, to hear her, to be with her, to bless her. Every time you're by a river or a stream, by the ocean, every time you see water going down in your sink, put a blessing upon it. Let the water run out into the earth. Other waters will run into bigger lakes, streams, rivers, out into the sea. Let our prayers be carried in that. And so that's my wish, that's my reflection of these few months. And it would be lovely to know what yours were. And coming up now to the 21st of September, the autumn equinox, held here by the deity Macha. And Macha is a very ancient goddess, a sovereign goddess. In our stories, it's said that every people that came to Ireland had a Macha with them. So we know that it's a title. She held a position amongst the people. And she, of course, is also the horse goddess. And when we think of horses, we see them in our mind's eye so often running free and wild. And that's Macha too, allowing us to recognize our wildness, our stretch or our ache for freedom. And what does freedom mean for us? We can be bound in chains. We can be bound in beliefs. And can we allow ourselves to break free? Freedom comes from within. Whatever is happening around us, it's how we hold ourselves, how we hear ourselves, how we love ourselves, how we respect ourselves enough to follow our needs with harm to none. For Macha teaches us that. When we come to the autumn equinox, we're coming to the time of the indwelling cave. Macha brings us to this cave, the cave of our becoming, the cave of our undoing, where we hold those aspects of ourselves that we no longer accept or look at, that we are frightened of, that we are told when we were young was not acceptable. All those parts of us that have become hidden away over the years. Macha invites us into the cave. She's one of the 8 deities on our Celtic wheel. So it's time too to move into that space of reflection. The summer's not yet gone, but she's moving along. And for those, of course, in the southern hemisphere, it's the spring equinox and the time of Bowen, the time of dreaming, the time of movement and awareness. And Macha, of course, allows us to see ourselves in that mirror, the mirror we hold within, to step through and beyond and look at what is there in our cave. She's a great deity. She's an ancient deity. And so I invite you to journey with Macha, to call upon Macha, to allow yourselves the opportunity, while we still have it here now, the time and the space, to move within. And see around you and outside of you what you would still like to harvest for your winter months. And I don't just mean toilet roll. But what is it that you want to bring into the winter with you? What have you gained? What have you chosen or will choose to let go of? Perhaps realize and recognize what doesn't serve you anymore, what you were caught up with, and to embrace what does serve you, to embrace what feeds you. And as you move out, connecting with others again, recognizing that you might feel fragile, you might be a little reticent, and that's okay, because they will too. Keeping your heart open and holding that protective energy around you just enough to let yourself know that you're caring for you. Much, much love to you, dear ones. Speak again next month. Slán. Benocht Macha.